INFJs, the rare introverted, intuitive feeling judging type, are often described as gentle, empathetic, and insightful souls. They're the compassionate confidants and idealists, the angels who genuinely care about others. But there's a flip side to that warmth. When an INFJ finally speaks up after a long silence, their words can carry an unexpected weight. These aren't wacky or random remarks. They're warning labels in disguise. In fact, the INFJ's calm voice can deliver verdicts that quietly terrify those who hear them. Why? Because by the time an INFJ says something truly significant, you can be sure they've already made up their mind internally. In this deep dive, we'll explore the psychology behind the INFJ's communication style, how their restraint, empathy, and firm convictions combine into what we might call the dark side angel persona. This isn't edgy for edgy's sake. Rather, dark side angel refers to the INFJ's blend of compassion, clarity, and consequence. They speak truths after much restraint. Their words sound calm and caring, but land heavy. Their statements often carry a sense of moral finality. They may sound gentle until you realize they've already decided. Let's unravel the quietly intimidating power of INFJ words and the subtle warning label phrases that signal an INFJ has reached their limit. Why INFJ words carry weight. INFJs are not big talkers. They're listeners, observers, and internal processors. When conflict or strong emotions arise, an INFJ's first impulse is often silence, not out of apathy, but to think and protect. They retreat into their rich inner world, thanks to dominant introverted intuition, I, to mull things over. They also absorb others' emotions deeply, courtesy of auxiliary extroverted feeling, FE, which can overwhelm them. Their silence often masks intense feelings or complex thoughts that they haven't yet put into words. In short, INFJs don't speak impulsively. This careful, reflective nature means that when an INFJ finally voices a difficult truth or decision, it's usually well considered and final. As one expert notes, INFJs bottle up negative emotions and avoid confrontation to keep the peace until they reach a breaking point. They may endure a lot internally without saying a word, but once their patience is exhausted and a decision is made, they'll state it plainly. An INFJ often decides internally first and announces second. There's very little thinking out loud in the heat of the moment. Instead, you get a calm, resolved statement after the storm has already raged inside them. Another reason INFJ words land with such impact is their empathic yet perceptive communication style. They are usually tactful and gentle, especially when delivering criticism. An INFJ will often soften the blow of truth to avoid hurting you. But make no mistake, beneath that soft tone can lie brutal honesty. In fact, INFJs value authenticity and insight so much that if something needs to be said, they will say it, politely but firmly. This mix of kindness and candor can catch people off guard. It's disarming to have someone who emotionally x-rays you and sees right through facades, yet does so with a sympathetic smile. People around INFJs often feel seen on a deep level, which can be both comforting and unsettling. Finally, INFJs have a strong inner moral compass guiding their words. Nicknamed the advocate or idealist, an INFJ cares about integrity and doing what's right. They stick to their principles and personal values with remarkable loyalty. In practice, this means if an INFJ speaks up about a boundary or ethical stance, they're unlikely to back down. They stick to their guns on issues of conscience. So, when an INFJ calmly says, "This isn't right," or "I can't accept this," it carries the weight of conviction. They won't say such things lightly, and they won't be easily persuaded otherwise. Their gentle voice may convey it politely, but underneath is the steel of firm judgment. Little wonder that an INFJ's quiet statement can feel like a line drawn in concrete, immovable and absolute. Warning labels in disguise, phrases INFJs use as final warnings. INFJs rarely announce their breaking point with dramatic fireworks. Instead, you'll notice subtle phrases and behaviors, the warning labels that signal an INFJ has had enough or is close to it. These aren't bizarre, cryptic utterances. On the contrary, they often sound perfectly normal to the untrained ear. But for those who know the INFJ well, these quiet phrases are red flags. Here are a few common ones and what they really mean. Number 1, I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. If you hear an INFJ say this in a flat tone, be cautious. On the surface, they're assuring you everything is okay. In reality, everything might be very much not okay. INFJs often use this phrase to deflect concern because they hate burdening others with their problems. They feel a duty to handle their issues alone and not add stress to anyone else. So an INFJ's "I'm fine" can be a polite lie, a way to avoid opening up the floodgates. It's quietly terrifying because it hides a storm behind a smile. By the time an INFJ says nothing's wrong, while clearly upset, it's a warning that they're closing off. The issue is still very much there, but they've decided not to talk about it. In other words, you're being shut out, at least for now, from their inner world. Number 2, never mind. It's not important. These dismissive little phrases from an INFJ can send a chill down your spine if you understand them. INFJs often pull out a never mind when they've attempted to express something important and feel you didn't listen or understand. Rather than push the issue, which risks conflict, the INFJ waves it off as unimportant. Don't be fooled. It was important to them. A source from Truity notes that when an INFJ says never mind, it can mean they're either testing the waters of a tough topic, signaling frustration that you're not getting it, or kindly stopping the conversation to spare your feelings. In any case, it's not important often really means this is too important or too upsetting to keep discussing now. It's a final gentle warning that the INFJ is backing out of the dialogue and possibly beginning to emotionally back away from you. Consistently brushing off an INFJ's deeper concerns will lead to quiet but serious consequences. Number 3, sudden short cold responses. One of the clearest nonverbal warning signs is when a warm, chatty INFJ turns terse and distant. You might get one-word answers, a polite okay, or no response at all, where once they were engaged and caring. INFJs are usually attentive communicators who put effort into understanding others. If instead you're getting radio silence or icy brevity, pay attention. If you ever see an INFJ being reserved and starting to withdraw, start worrying, writes one INFJ author. They add that when an INFJ who used to show emotion and reach out becomes visibly distant, you should be worried. Cutting back their communication is how INFJs signal that something has gone very wrong. Rather than explode in anger, an INFJ quietly starts shutting down. It's like the first door closing in the long hallway to their heart. Those short replies are essentially warning labels saying, "This is your last chance to fix this. Otherwise, I'm gone." Indeed, INFJs famously tend to withdraw instead of getting openly angry. We express our pain differently than others. Instead of drama and arguments, we quietly walk away, one INFJ explains. So when you notice an INFJ's sentences shrinking and their warmth cooling, don't brush it off. It's a quietly terrifying sign that you could lose them and you might not even get a loud fight or clear explanation first. Number 4, calm statements of finality. Perhaps the most unsettling things INFJs say are the straightforward, calmly delivered ultimatums or conclusions. There's no yelling, no dramatic overture, just a serene pronouncement that feels like a gavel slam. For example, an INFJ might quietly say, "This isn't working for me," or "I can't do this anymore." To the unsuspecting ear, these might sound like negotiable feelings, but INFJs don't make such declarations lightly. Often, if they've reached the point of stating a conclusion out loud, an INFJ will mentally wrestle with a problem or relationship long before you ever hear about it. So by the time they softly say, "I'm done," they are truly done. One source describes that when an INFJ decides it's time to move on, there's no going back. They will have endured lies, hurts, or moral compromises up to their limit. And once that line is crossed, the infamous INFJ door slam occurs. The door slam is when an INFJ cuts someone out of their life decisively and permanently, often without theatrics. INFJs don't announce our departure because we already did everything we could to stop it. In other words, all those gentle warnings came and went. When the final calm statement arrives, "I've made up my mind," or "This is goodbye," it's delivered with quiet conviction and zero room for negotiation. For the recipient, that can be terrifying. The normally accommodating INFJ is unyielding. Their polite tone remains, but the content is an unambiguous goodbye. It's like hearing an angel calmly decree your fate, unnerving in its composed certainty. Number 5, silence and disappearing acts. Ironically, the most terrifying thing an INFJ can say is nothing at all. Sometimes, instead of explicit words, you'll get the absence of them, which speaks volumes. If an INFJ who used to be in your daily life suddenly goes radio silent, take heed. In many cases, that silence is the final message. A popular description in INFJ circles goes, "An INFJ doesn't just walk away, they vanish. One day, they're deeply invested, patient beyond reason. The next day, they're just gone." This vanishing act is the ultimate warning label that was likely preceded by many quieter hints. INFJs give endless chances and subtle cues, but when those fail, they exit without fanfare. It's quietly chilling because you won't get drama or closure. The INFJ simply becomes a ghost, leaving you to replay all the little things they said or didn't say and realize in hindsight that those were the warnings. As one article notes, an INFJ will withdraw completely only after repeated hurts and when there's no other option available. By the time they go silent for good, they have internally severed the tie, likely mourning the loss on their own terms. You're left with silence, which, from an INFJ, is the final, "I've said all I needed to say." In all these cases, the INFJ's actions and tone remain gentle or subdued, but the underlying message is quite severe. Their quiet words are a veil over very firm decisions. To those attuned, phrases like "I'm fine," "never mind," or an unexplained silence are loud alarm bells that something is wrong. The INFJ is giving a last bit of compassionate restraint, a calm warning rather than an outburst before they enforce consequences. The dark side angel, duality, compassion plus clarity plus consequence. Understanding the INFJ's quietly terrifying sayings isn't about painting INFJs as sinister or cruel, far from it. It's about recognizing the unique dual nature that these individuals embody. This is the dark side angel concept, an INFJ's capacity to be both incredibly compassionate and unwaveringly firm when their values or limits are crossed. Here's how the psychology of this duality breaks down. Angelic compassion. INFJs are often compared to angels or guardians for a reason. They radiate empathy and care. They listen without judgment, offer support, and genuinely want the best for others. They typically avoid saying hurtful things because they feel other people's pain. In conflict, their first move is often to understand the other side or to keep things harmonious. This is why, even when upset, an INFJ might say, "I don't want to hurt your feelings," or speak in a measured tone. Their extroverted feeling, fee function, drives them to maintain empathy and kindness in their interactions. Even the warning phrases above, like "it's fine" or "never mind," stem from a place of not wanting to create drama or guilt. In essence, the INFJ's angelic side ensures that no matter how final their decision, they will try to deliver it gently and with empathy for your feelings. If they truly didn't care, they wouldn't bother with soft words at all. The fact that an INFJ issues a warning, however subtle, is itself a sign of compassion. They are giving you a chance to understand or change before they take drastic action. Clear-eyed clarity. What makes INFJ communication potent is that it's backed by penetrating insight. INFJs have a knack for reading between the lines and perceiving motives or problems that others miss. Myers-Briggs experts note that INFJs can seem like emotional detectives, picking up hidden meanings and future implications with their intuitive foresight. By the time an INFJ formulates a statement about a situation, they've likely analyzed it from all angles in their head. There's a clarity to their decisions, a sense that they see the core truth of what's going on. This is why an INFJ's calm statement can feel so definitive. It's not a guess or a whim, it's the result of intense internal processing. For example, if an INFJ friend says, "I don't trust him," in a serene, matter-of-fact way, you can be sure they've observed patterns and quietly connected the dots to arrive at that conclusion. They may not raise their voice to convince you, but their certainty can send shivers down your spine because you sense their conviction is grounded in keen perception. Often, people around INFJs describe them as having almost a sixth sense or being eerily insightful about others' character and intentions. That clarity means when they speak truth after long restraint, their words carry an authority that can't be easily dismissed. Enforcing consequence. The dark side of the INFJ emerges not as cruelty, but as a firm stand and action. Remember, the J, judging in INFJ, implies a need for closure and decisiveness. Once an INFJ believes a course of action is right, they feel compelled to follow through. They hold themselves accountable to their values and expect to act consistently with them. So, if an INFJ has declared a boundary, "I won't allow this," their next step will be to enforce it, quietly but surely. For instance, an INFJ who says, "I need to distance myself," will actually distance themselves. They don't make empty threats. Their kindness does not mean they're pushovers. In fact, INFJs can be stubborn and unyielding when a principle is at stake. They might end a relationship or cut ties with someone who consistently violates their core values, even if it pains them, because they cannot live in a way that contradicts their integrity. This is the consequence part of the equation. An INFJ's final words often signal an action. The terrifying part for others is how calmly and cleanly they execute that action. It might be as subtle as quietly ceasing contact, no drama, no spectacle, or as resolute as a polite but cold farewell. INFJs stick to their guns, as one article puts it, when it comes to moral decisions. Even their loved ones may be taken aback by how a person so caring can suddenly become so firm. But to the INFJ, this isn't sudden at all. It's the last chapter of a long internal journey. Put together, these elements make INFJs seem like angels with an edge. They'll forgive a lot, empathize with a lot, and stay quiet through a lot until they won't. The transition from sweet supporter to steadfast judge can be jarring. One moment you see the nurturing, understanding INFJ. The next, you're face to face with their unwavering resolve. They still speak softly, but it feels a bit like an angel of mercy turning into an angel of judgment, delivering truth and consequences with a serene face. Dark side angel, equal compassion, plus clarity, plus consequence. An INFJ in this mode will look you in the eye with genuine care and the truth of the matter, however painful, written on their tongue. They will give you that final chance to understand, perhaps in a gentle, "I really hope you take care of yourself. Goodbye." And then they will walk away, having already made peace with the outcome. The quietly terrifying things INFJs say are only terrifying because they carry unspoken depth and finality. These phrases are the culmination of the INFJ's long-suffering patience, deep reflection, and moral deliberation. They are not said to startle or hurt you. In fact, quite the opposite. They're often said in the kindest way possible to convey a hard truth. The INFJ's gentle exterior and caring nature mean they'll try every gentle avenue before resorting to blunt honesty or cutting someone off. So by the time you hear that calm, dispassionate statement, "I've had enough," in so many words, the INFJ has already endured a lot and sees no other choice. If you have an INFJ in your life, it pays to listen to the warning labels hidden in their calm remarks. Don't just take "I'm fine" at face value if their eyes tell a different story. Notice if their vibrant warmth has cooled into polite distance. Something important is likely wrong. And above all, take their words seriously when they do articulate a boundary or a decision. INFJs don't do that lightly. As one writer notes, INFJs often renounce their beliefs for no one. It takes a great deal to force them to change course. So if an INFJ says, "This is my decision," respect that they mean it. In understanding these nuances, we not only avoid the shock of an INFJ's dark side, but we also appreciate the strength it takes for them to finally speak up. There's a profound integrity in how INFJs communicate. They will bend over backwards to be kind and understanding, but they will not betray their values or hearts once drawn to the limit. Their quiet words, when decoded, tell you everything you need to know. They're the calm before the storm and the eye of the storm all at once, delivered by someone who wishes to cause as little harm as possible, yet will not stay silent about the truth any longer. In the end, the INFJ's quietly frightening phrases are a reminder that still waters run deep. The kindly INFJ colleague or friend who rarely raises their voice may harbor the strongest of convictions beneath their accommodating smile. When those convictions surface in words, pay close attention. You may just be receiving a gentle warning that masks a firm ultimatum. And if you care about that INFJ, you'll recognize the angel in them is offering compassion. And the so-called dark side is simply them honoring their clarity and self-respect. Heed the warning labels, and you'll never have to fear the dark side angel. You'll have earned the trust of one of the most devoted but resolute personalities out there. You've just felt the quiet power of an INFJ's words. Now, we'd love to hear your story. Have you ever experienced an INFJ who said something gentle, yet it hit you like a ton of bricks? Or, if you're an INFJ, have you yourself ever uttered a calm one-liner that became a final straw and changed everything? Share those moments in the comments. Your perspective is precious here. Let's learn from each other's quietly powerful truths. And if this conversation resonated with you, we invite you to join our INFJ journey, subscribe, and come along for the next chapter in this series. Together, let's keep unraveling the gentle mysteries.